Dawah Digital, aka Mohsen Mastan, is a content creator on YouTube who has made both his name and his image publicly available, not only on his YouTube channel where he uses both his name and appears on camera, but also on his YouTube channel's official Instagram page. In fact, it's the only detail besides a link to his YouTube channel on said Instagram account. He also shares various images of himself posing with different members of iERA, and that's the Islamic Education and Research Academy. His Instagram page has the very same username as his YouTube channel, i.e. Dawah Digital. There has been made no effort to separate the two, and indeed there even seems to be this sort of boastful pride by Mohsen Mastan himself when it comes to his work. But that pride has come out in a rather toxic manner over the past several months. I've been publicly insulted, threatened, and even found myself victim of Mohsen Mastan's abuse of the YouTube flagging system to try and hide said threats. And in part he has succeeded. The video documenting his threats, which appeared at the top of search results for Dawah Digital, no longer exists on YouTube, which is why I have decided to make a complete breakdown of everything that has occurred during this conflict. Now, normally I do not ask for likes and shares at the start of my videos, but please consider doing so to help me reclaim that top spot, to make the abuse levelled by Mastan at his critics public knowledge. But before I move on to unravelling the timeline of abuse, I'd first like to note one of Dawah Digital's public relations, i.e. his public links to the Islamic Education and Research Academy, also known as iERA. Dawah Digital has stated publicly that he carries out work for iERA, and iERA has not only continued to share Dawah Digital's work on their networks, but has actually reposted Dawah Digital's work to their own YouTube channels, London Dawah Movement and Imran Hussein, Hussein being one of the active iERA speakers at the current time. They continue to do this even after I've reached out to them repeatedly about the harassment, the threats, the abuse Mohsen Mastan has launched against me. So far they've refused to comment or do anything. I keep pressing them since iERA likes to present itself as a moderate, even charitable organisation in spite of having connections to terrorist activities such as the infamous Portsmouth Jihadis, as well as several of their key speakers having endorsed religious execution. The first of two cases that come to mind is the case of Adnan Rashid, father to YouTube Dawahist Musa Adnan, who went on a Christian radio station and stated the following.
It'd be interesting to ask then, what is the difference between criticising the Prophet and disrespecting or insulting the Prophet? Is there a law under Islam that is justified to punish those who actually insult the Prophet?
Yes, absolutely. I just stated that there is definitely a law.
And what would the appropriate punishment be?
Okay, it carries capital punishment. It is a law, that's how it stands, and it is well established within the Islamic legal schools that anyone who insults the Prophet, whether Muslim or a non-Muslim, no matter who insults the Prophet, a king or a pauper, it doesn't really matter. Anyone who insults the Prophet in a way which is extremely derogatory, then the penalty is death if it's proven and the person insists to stand by the statement made whenever it was made.
And that's based on the Quran and the Hadith? The
Quran and the Hadith both, yes, yes.
Note the way in which iERA media hovers in the corner, telling me that someone at iERA saw this discussion and decided to publish it on the official capacity of iERA before taking it down at a later date. Then of course we have Hamza, the once pride and joy of iERA, who publicly defended beheading for apostates, so ex-Muslims, as being okay because it was, quote, painless.
The apostate, if he becomes a political apostate and he fights against the Muslims, then that's described as punishable by death. Another apostasy is, for instance, when they just...
I can pause you there. I can pause you there for this reason. If the penalty for the other two is somewhat different, it really doesn't matter. Do you think that the penalty for the one that you have described Do you personally think that that is fair?
Well, yeah, if someone's going to fight against the community, they should be...
they should be stoned to death, yes?
No, that's not the punishment.
What is the punishment?
From my understanding, it may be limited, it's actually beheading.
Beheading. And you're comfortable with that?
Well, you don't feel any pain with it, that's the first thing.
He has also pretended to read studies that have never been published, as well as being caught on the Ashley Madison hack list, i.e. Ashley Madison being a website that allows its married users to arrange sexual liaisons with complete strangers without their spouse's knowledge. It's an adultery website. So iERA is certainly no stranger to scandal, yet seems unwilling to even address the fact that one of their work associates, who they are actively promoting, continues to try and use harassment and threats as a means to stifle critique. So with all of this out of the way, let's go back to the start of all of this to discuss how I ended up becoming the victim of flagging abuse. Things started at the end of last year when I reviewed a video titled Islam, Not Atheism, Gives Meaning to Science, which contained iERA's Imran Hussein in my response video titled Dear Dawah Apologist, please stop lying about what atheism is. See, at the time I didn't even know who Dawah Digital or Mohsen Mastan was. You see, iERA has this habit of creating a different group every now and then and for some unknown reason changing the name. iERA has become London Dawah, Mission Dawah, Global Dawah, so when I saw the title card, I honestly just thought Dawah Digital was just the latest thing. So I was a little surprised when Dawah Digital came over to my channel and posted a comment, since iERA seemed to be ignoring me at that time. Then I became very surprised when the comment stated that anyone who wore one t-shirt over another needed their, quote, head checked. It gets cold here in Delhi during the winter and I wanted my channel shirt to be visible, so I couldn't exactly wear a jumper. So anyway, that's when I found out about Mohsen Mastan, creator and sole admin for Dawah Digital, which has as its tagline, educate, inspire, enlighten, inform, engage, not just on its YouTube channel, but also its Facebook. Now, I wasn't going to take ableist slurs lying down, so I decided to very clearly highlight my issue by reviewing the Dawah Digital Facebook page to see how he would handle the issue. I made my grievances very clear. I didn't try to hide anything, and how I felt that Mohsen Mastan had failed to live up to what he proclaimed Dawah Digital to be. What I didn't expect was an ego so fragile that to compare it to a material such as antique glass would be an insult to said glass makers. He did not take kindly to have a genuine review of his demeanour in relation to his tagline. It was the usual attempts of ponage that I used to see a lot in school, but really didn't expect from an apparent professional. Note that this guy hires out his services on commission. They of course made out that it's my fault if they act out like a childish arsehole, and me asking them to respond to the points, not attack my character, is me being, quote, butthurt. Again, this is from the creator and sole operator of Dawah Digital, which has as its tagline, educate, inspire, enlighten, inform, and engage. Yeah, this is really engaging. What followed next is perhaps the most childish move I have ever seen in dealing with online theists, and believe me, I've seen some childish crap. Dawah Digital fired out a review for my page. Now, that doesn't bother me so much. What bothers me is that not only do they fail to express a genuine issue with my work as I did with theirs, they even pretended they didn't know me. I'm being serious. A full-grown man pretended like he just come across my channel and was upset that I wasn't the author of some book. What's even funnier is that he broke the whole facade after a single comment. It really was sad to watch him flop about like a fish on the bottom of a boat, but I couldn't do anything to stop him. He was just making a tit of himself, and I couldn't help. Following that embarrassment, he decided to contact me via direct messaging, giving the non-apology of me taking issue with their actions being my fault. They talked about wanting to build bridges. I informed them that I'd been down this path with iERA before and it always results in backstabbing. If they want to address my points, then they're more than welcome to do so and we can grow in a genuine fashion that way. But I wasn't going to say we're fine because you asked me to, especially not after a fake apology. I needed a genuine demonstration on their part to show me that they wanted to engage in an honest fashion. I needed actions, not words. They brought up Aristotle. I noted that entertaining an idea does not then restrict how I may respond to said idea once I have engaged with it. They claimed that I was simply playing games. I noted that all I had done is ask them for evidence of their God. Why is that a game? They brought up language. I told them that's simply irrelevant, it's just a red herring. They cried ad hominem. I pointed to the fact that they were not only the first to make an insult, but the only one to make an insult as if it were an argument. They then threatened me with a video response. Don't get me wrong, it was a weak-ass threat. I wasn't going to go around claiming that, oh, I'm so wounded, and oh, I don't know if I can go on making videos anymore, or anything like that. But it was a threat nonetheless. There was a clear intention to telling me this. They were demanding that I stop expecting them to supply evidence for the existence of their God, or they would, quote, expose me. I simply told them to go right ahead. After all, I live in a world of video responses. That's literally my job. This then opened the floodgates to all sorts of crap, including the claim that I was a misotheist, even stating that I'd, quote, just admitted to it, only to then deny that they'd said just that when I asked them to prove I just admitted to it or stop lying. Pretty much I was getting nowhere at this point, so after a little more discussion on the burden of proof, I just set to respond to them with Whaley from Tay Pratchett's series, The Nakmak Feagle. It's an expression they use when they're being forced to face something that they see as their doom, when for the reader it's like a very mundane happening. So for example, being taught how to spell, or being scolded by the Akelda, who is the matriarch of the household. You know, it's a very mundane thing, but they go waily, 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 Crivens, it's the end for us. I just thought it was fitting for the whole idea of threatening a YouTuber with a video response. So I made the entire conversation publicly accessible and was thus accused by Dawah Digital of taking what was said out of context. Again, I'd made the entire conversation publicly accessible, so how I could take it out of context, I don't know. They also doubled down on the threat of exposing me, a threat which, when I asked them for an update on when I could expect it, turned out to be empty. Apparently I wasn't worth their time. So anyway, I created a video documenting all of this abuse so that it became part of the public record, because even if I hadn't been bullied by them into submission, not everyone's in the same sort of situation, so maybe someone would require support and that way they could come across my video, etc. Move on 2 months, and whilst I was away on holiday, I received notification that said video had been reported as violating YouTube's privacy guidelines. Now, YouTube has these privacy guidelines to protect people who may not want their details to end up on YouTube. If anything shown makes a person potentially traceable, that is a potential privacy violation. It can be deliberate, as with doxing, or it can be accidental. Say someone's just taking an innocent video and without noticing they scan across the letter shows name, address, etc., and it's not their letter. If someone, the owner, sees that and thinks, actually I don't want my address in this video, they can report that and then the person's given the choice to remove it. So it can be either way. This, however, does not apply to figures of public interest or those who go about sharing the very same information on their channels' networks. It's there to protect both YouTubers who want to maintains some sort of anonymity to possibly protect him at home, as well as people who simply want nothing to do with YouTube, yet are having their details shared about, and that's a very genuine issue. I completely understand why the system is there. The problem is that the system is mostly automated. Also, as noted at the very start, Mohsen Mastan has consciously made both his name and his image available on YouTube and Instagram. Mohsen Mastan has been informed of all of this during the process, yet he still chose to file what thus became a false privacy complaint. This is abuse of the flagging system, and it was designed for one purpose: to get my video removed, since, as noted, it documented their threats towards me and had done so very successfully, topping search results for Dawah Digital. Now, YouTube gives you 48 hours as a grace period to remove or edit your video, else it will be reviewed, and if the review finds you guilty, there is a possibility of receiving a community strike on your channel. My first response was to inform you lot, my viewers, creating a second video explaining why this was a clear attempt at abusing YouTube's automated system. In it, I showed the official Instagram page for Dawah Digital, which housed Mohsen Mastan's name, and I shit you not, Mohsen Mastan flagged that very segment on the second video. So now I had two videos which could both potentially receive strikes, putting my channel at risk since YouTube has a 3 strike limit before your account is terminated. Sure, you can appeal, but appealing takes time, and video making is my full-time job. So for documenting his threats against me rather than learning from it, Mohsen Mastan was willing to jeopardize my budding career. So I had to make a difficult call. The second video had context, which the first did not, since I had not expected this when I posted my first video. And whilst I could stand to live with having 1 strike on my channel, I was not prepared to risk it all by receiving 2 strikes at the same time, because if I then received 1 more strike, that's it for my channel. Udita and I made the decision to eject the first video and prioritize defending the second. Believe me, considering how popular the original had been and how wonderful the comments posted by you guys were, it was not an easy task. But on the bright side, that video had been made very recently after I moved to India, before I had time to set up the foam in my rooms to reduce the reverb, so the audio had been pretty terrible, hence I decided a new video was the way to go. And that's why this video is here right now. As for the second video, which was also reported, whilst it was taken down after apparent review, I could tell for a fact that it had not been reviewed by a real person, and I can now confirm that since when I pushed a real person over the fact that the flagged segment was me showing Dawah Digital's official Instagram page, suddenly under the second review it was reinstated, and with it the standard for this video reset, as now I know I can fight my corner. Even if this video is flagged, I can stick it to him. Not to mention that if Mohsen Mastan decides to try and abuse the system again, now he risks channel termination. There is a real potential that if he decides to do this again, he will lose his channel automatically. So there you have it, the story so far, and whilst I've come out of this relatively unscathed, the fact that Mohsen Mastan even thought to try and threaten me, as well as abuse the privacy system, is more than enough for me to document all of this. I'm not going to bend to his threats. I'm not intimidated by him. He can't bully me. But not everyone he targets may be in the same boat as I am, and hopefully, if he tries any more shit like this, someone out there will pass on my name or come to me so I can come to the aid of whoever Mohsen Mastan, Mr. Dawah Digital, has decided to screw with this time. So as a final thought, I'd just like to go back to the claim that Dawah Digital wanted to build bridges, and I noted my suspicions having dealt with his iERA associates before. I guess I was right. Hi there, I just like to say a few things here at the end of the video before you go. First, I'd like to thank everyone who has ever donated to the channel via Patreon, giving a special thanks to the following people: Hannah Banghart, Trevor Matheson, Matthew Kovac, John Schoenrock, Angzal Williams, and of course Daniel Martinez. Your support has ensured this channel its ability to grow over the years. I'd also like to ask that you comment down below and like this video, as well as subscribe and follow Essence of Thought on Facebook and YouTube. Please also consider following Atheist Alliance International on Facebook, an organisation dedicated to helping atheists around the globe. Thank you.